Alright, I'm here interviewing the Lewd Dudes. How's it going?
How's it going?
Well, chilling.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Can I just get your names down the line on recording?
Sure. My name's Riley Sklar and I play the bass guitar.
I'm Scott Morgan, I play keys.
I'm Andrew Riefenstahl and I play guitar and sing.
Rankin Fetzer, I play guitar and sing as well. And then we got Jordan Hughes, who's looking after the tour bus. He's our
We
drummer.
left him at the car.
He's our drummer. He's keeping an eye on.
He's on
things.
duty.
You just didn't feel like coming in?
Maybe.
He gets stage fright, which is kind of difficult since we're in a band and we go on stage every night. But yeah, he was nervous. He didn't want to be on the interview.
That's alright, that's understandable. So, I guess, kind of obvious question in a way, how'd you guys start up? How'd you guys get together and start this thing?
When we first started out, I had been a musician and I was kind of like getting out of it. And then all of a sudden I got the call up and a friend of mine asked me to go on tour with them and to play bass. And actually Jordan, our drummer, was also in that group. And we basically were touring with another group from Austin, Texas. And then while we were out on that little tour through the Southwest, it just sort of reminded me how much I love music and how I'm a pretty good performer. So I decided that when we'd get back to Austin, we'd get some guys together and we would start a band that was rock music.
But yeah, we, a lot of us, we grew up together in Grapevine in the Dallas area. And we've been playing music together since high school in Andrew's backyard. We would go shoot hoops and then play music in his barn back there. So we've been playing together for well over a decade before the band even formed.
Alright, sounds good. And so, I guess, obviously, the pandemic was pretty I think we can all say.
Yeah,
Can't agree, can't
Definitely
confirm.
shitty.
Can't confirm.
Can't confirm.
I think you
Sucks.
guys made a song. It was literally just 2020. And so throughout the quarantine, how are you guys faring? And what were y'all up to, I guess?
Yeah,
I can't believe you're referencing that. Like, holy shit. We made that. Jordan and I made that in one day. Our drummer. I was like, "Hey, I got this beat," and then we just started rapping on it.
Yeah.
But that's not. I haven't thought about that song in so long.
Yeah, that's
but
definitely a
for
deep
real. But that's real. Like 2020 for sure. I mean, I had a good time, but it sucked. Like, we initially had a tour planned for July of 2020, and that got canceled. So we're finally getting around to do it August or September now, 2021, and so that's crazy. But we're still doing it.
Yeah, we came out with our last album, Malbec, pretty much like a couple months before the pandemic happened. So we were like riding this high with that, like feeling good, booking shows, and then all of a sudden it was just like boom, like nothing's happening at all.
Yeah, the last show we played was March 12th at Stubbs, and we had a run of shows for South by Southwest 2020 we were about to play, and then word came through that everything was shutting down, and basically it took a toll on everybody, and throughout the pandemic we spent about a year and a half recording our new record Habitable Zone, which just came out last week.
Yeah, hell.
We're fortunate that Andrew's invested a lot of money into a home studio, so we were able to record everything like within our own space without any other people around, just us, and that was really nice.
Yeah, got lucky enough to do a few shows during the pandemic too. Like there were some really cool venues in Austin that had some really awesome setups, socially distanced, and like Far Out Lounge is a place I always think of. We're doing rock and roll shows during a pandemic, like pretty much the only way, very socially distanced, and you kind of like get a table and then it's masks, required if you're not seated. And they were like strict about it, and that was really cool. So,
Which is a really weird way to play shows we're like a very high energy rock band. Like we get out and we dance in the crowd and we like to put on a show. And it's so weird to play a show where everybody's just sitting down like politely looking at you and then it ends and it's like, okay, I think you guys are liking this. I like it.
But after, rotting inside for a year and be able to get outside and play live music to our friends, even if it was in that setting, it was really relieving. And it actually propelled us to want to like finish out the record, put it out, and then book a tour as soon as the vaccine came out. And, although it's still crazy, having the vaccine does kind of give you a little bit of hope that at least we can go on tour and rock and roll.
Yeah, I remember it was really funny. So I was in like high school, and like this German like hip hop group, I was like coming over on this huge like educational quote unquote thing. They like put out like this rap music. It was pretty clean, but it helped you like try to learn German was like the point of it. And so
like what kind of rap groups are coming out of Germany?
Yeah. It was wild. But the really funny part was all these like nerdy high school schoolers, you know, they come out to this like concert hall thing where they got them set up, and all the teachers like, okay, everybody sit down, you know, sit down politely in the rows, and the group comes out and they're like, what are you doing? This is a concert. Get up, get out of your seats, get dancing and stuff.
That's awesome.
And so it's, you know, it does make the point. It's really weird, I guess, especially you guys to have like the kind of, okay, this is a really cool show. All right, very nice, very nice.
Yeah, I think, you know, the shows that we have lined up on this tour are going to be kind of like in-your-face rock and roll, and if we had any sort of ability to guarantee vaccines at the door, we would, but, you know, it's just not possible at this point. So I think we're doing the best that we can in terms of being safe and wearing masks when we can, and hopefully the people wear masks inside.
And get vaccinated.
And get vaccinated,
Everybody
yeah.
get
If you're
vaccinated.
listening to this and you're not vaccinated, then you.
Yeah.
Unless you can't, because some people can't, but
It's
whatever.
understandable. So I guess I'm just curious. So why rock and roll for y'all? It obviously works. You know, that's the band.
Yeah.
But what led you guys to rock and roll instead of, I don't know, some other genre?
I think I grew up in Grapevine, Texas, which is a part of, you know, the DFW Metroplex, and I just remember, like, I can't remember what it was, but like 102.1 The Edge or something like that. It was
97.9 The Bone.
Yeah, The Bone, you know, and it was just always playing Rush, or it was playing Def Leppard, or as we were driving in here, we heard Tom Petty, and we heard the Dire Straits. So there's like a lot of the Dallas radio sound really resonated me a lot. And then my dad also played a lot of the Cars, Genesis, Phil Collins, just like your classic bread and butter, like 80s rock music. And they're really talented, and that's really stuck with me.
Yeah, I think we all kind of have different influences. We all bring a different like flavor of music to the table. My first favorite band growing up was the Grateful Dead, and I listened to a lot of like punk rock, like Anti-Flag and the Casualties during middle school. But then I kind of mellowed out and listened to a little bit more easygoing music, I guess, now. But everybody has a different style, a different influence, and we all bring that to the table. And when you mix it all together, I think that's where you get kind of like the solid rock and roll sound that we have.
They were giving me grief on the way up here for playing too much indie pop.
Yeah.
I'm the synth guy though. That's what I do.
Well, I think like with all of us too, and in our influences, I think we all like different kinds of rock. And like Andrew's that classic rock. You know, Riley's into punk rock. Jordan, I don't even know what Jordan's into. Punk, he's into kind of everything.
Pop,
He's
emo.
He's emo too.
Rock,
But and
pop.
then you know I'm like very like blues and funk, which like I mean, where did rock and roll start? You know, from the blues. So I think when you just put us all together in the same room, rock and roll is gonna come out just because we're gonna rock out.
Oh yeah.
You can see that influence when you go from one song to the next. Like our songs, like there's a lot of albums you listen to and it all has like this very like it sounds very much the same, you know. But our songs can like change from one to the next, and like some are like really emotional and some are like really excited and happy, and others are heavier than the next one. So it's like every song on the album is a little bit different.
Yeah, I remember I was listening to some of y'all's tracks, and like at some point, it was like a saxophone. I can't remember if it was like Cracking a Cold One or another one on that album, but it really stuck out to me. I was like, damn, they got a sax on this thing.
Yeah.
It sounds really good too. So what kind of influences your instrumentation, I guess, sometimes?
Well, we had a sax player, you know, for about 2 or so years once we started up, and he left the band to kind of do his own thing. He's playing a lot of shows in Austin, and that kind of influenced our early sound. But as soon as we lost our sax player, Scott kind of stepped up and filled the role of that lead melody, you know, kind of driving factor. And you'll hear that on our new album, Habitable Zone, is a lot of the lead melodies driven with the synthesizer. But I mean, we kind of use all different types of arrangements and instrumentations. For example, we have a song called Flor de Caña, which is about a rum from Nicaragua, and it has a very much Latin rock feel to it, like a Latin rhythm and a Latin rock, and we use some timbales and congas as the instrumentation for the end of that song as well. So we try and diversify it as much as possible.
All right. Whenever you're making your songs, like whenever I'm listening to them, it always just feels like something I can kind of relate to in a sense. Like they're really Cracking Cold One, but then more recently I had a video from like Monday Morning. It was just like a song that you guys were like, all right, we party all night, we hit all the way to like Monday morning. We're still working on the tracks, I guess. So what inspires a lot of your songs, and what are some of your favorite songs?
Well, I guess with Monday Morning, I guess I kind of came up with the initial inspiration for that song. Kind of brought the guitar in like one verse and like the chorus to the guys. I was like, oh, I think I got something cool. And then then Scott helped with a verse, writing, and then I think Andrew wrote the bridge, a little turnaround, a little breakdown, and then you kind of just, the song is essentially just verses and choruses. As far as the songwriting process on that one, it just kind of like everyone kind of chipped in a little bit, and then voila, we had a song. That song, actually, what I wrote it about is, it's kind of like my love song to music, because no matter if you're waking up with someone or not waking up next to someone, or if you miss someone that you fell in love with, no matter what, you always wake up and music is still there. And I don't know if most people listen to it and get that message, but that's actually what the song's about. So, that's kind of just a love song to music, but we have so many other songs that are about...
Yeah, we have
so many other different subjects.
Yeah, we have a lot of strong lyricists in the group. People, and they bring their own creative touch to it. And then also we kind of write generally from or at least I do. I try to push for more of a storyteller, show, don't tell. And by having a narrative driving element to your song, it really makes writing verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, verse 4, you're really just taking the listener on an adventure, and you have these chorus tags that just, they keep bringing them back. So I really enjoy that storyteller element when I'm writing lyrics, and I know that Jordan, our drummer, is a really great lyricist, and Rankin as well. And we all, you've heard a couple times here, we all do it all together.
Yeah, and I think too on this album, you see a lot more serious themes than maybe we had in the past. Old songs, Cracking a Cold One, 69 on the Beach. They're fun songs, and we love them, we still play them and everything. But I think this album in particular is a lot more of a reflection of the time in which it was written. It was all written either right before or during the pandemic as well. So I think that this album in particular took on some more serious themes, while also still trying to keep that levity that we have as this party rock fun band.
All right. 2 more questions, just 2 more. Okay. So number 1 might have been an obvious one. I should have asked it earlier, but why the Lewd Dudes?
That is a really great question. I remember when we were on tour with our friends band from Austin. They're called The Waters. Just a shout out.
2 T's.
Yeah, 2 T's on that Waters. But when we were over there, I just remember we were in the back of somebody's place, and we had just played a show, and we were having a great time. And it just sort of came up, because we're kind of goofy guys. And so what's funny, and I tell this to everybody now, is I feel like maybe at that particular moment, I did not have the exact definition of lewd 100% correct. And I had, throughout my life, I think that I think it's the connotation that I had heard it in was sexual in a funny nature. And so lewd to me is about sexy, funny, goofy, exciting. But then when it was, a couple months later, after we've written several songs, I decided to crack open a dictionary, and it's offensive in a sexual nature. And I'm it doesn't say anything about funny in here? I thought this was supposed to be a lighthearted word, because I'd always heard it in that context. So that's kind of how it hit, and then people resonated with it, and it's memorable, and it is a fun, light-hearted thing, especially when you meet us, I think, and you hear our music, it changes your perception of what lewd is.
Yeah, I think if anything, besides rocking and rolling, our goal is to change people's perception of the word lewd and make it more widely acceptable. So if you ever hesitated when you're going to say something's lewd, then just think twice, because the Lewd Dudes are all about rock and roll.
I think some people think we're referencing Quaaludes. And I'm our music might make us sound like we're from the 80s or 70s, but we're not. This is
I've been asked that a couple
2021,
times.
and it's LEWD, not LUDE. I think that's how
Quaaludes
Quaaludes would be.
LUUD or something. I don't even know.
Something, yeah. I don't know the exact spelling.
Yeah, they don't make Quaaludes anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. But if they did, no.
Hey, if they did, we need a sponsorship.
Yeah. Oh my god. Wait, we got a question for you. What's your favorite Lewd Dude song?
What's my favorite Lewd Dude song? I don't know. I just like, I like the whole gamut of it. Whenever, so they were basically all right, Ben, you gotta do this interview. It's some hard party rockers, Lewd Dudes. And I'm what's going on here, guys? It's just I'm just this huge nerd, just sitting in a corner, doing my work. And they're you gotta interview these guys. And I read the website, and it's all right, beer in hand, you're gonna have a great time. I'm man, I'm 20. We didn't even get there yet. Right? But I think like listening to the whole gamut of the songs, it's really awesome. I really like the sound and just the way that it can sound unique. You know, in rock space where we get sent in Radio YouTube, we get sent in all these CDs, right, from all these promoters, and they're like, please, take these CDs and put on these people, and we're like, just send us USBs. We were like, it's 2021. We have like one CD player, and it's one guy's boombox he brought from home. Like,
Yeah.
but you guys' sound really is unique in a sense. It has a lot of different sounds and themes and everything. You can go from like Cracking a Cold One to the latest album, Inhabitable Zone, and it's just really, really interesting. And I like listening to it a lot.
Thank
But
you.
I guess I actually did like Monday Morning. a
Monday
lot
Morning?
recently.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I did. So last question before I let y'all go. What's the future, the Lewd Dude? Where are y'all going? What are y'all thinking you want to go with this?
Yeah, well, depending on when this airs, we have a show tonight at Three Links. It's Friday, the 2nd of September, or Thursday. And then tomorrow we go to Houston, and then we go off to Florida on tour for our first national tour. So ideally we would like to continue touring, and as soon as we get back, start thinking about the next album that we're going to record. We already have, the pandemic left us with a bunch of time, so we have a lot of songs in the bank that need to at least be demoed out. So I think the future looks bright. As long as, the world can figure its shit out and we can keep touring and playing rock and roll shows, we're going to keep on keeping on and writing more music and playing bigger and badder shows.
Yeah, I think we haven't really talked about it too much, but like we do all of our own recording and sound engineering, and then once we do that all in house, we then bring in or we contract professionals to do the mixing and mastering. And so one thing that we're all looking forward to in the future, and that we just continue to get better at, is the songwriting process, is the sound engineering. Using all the hardware, whatever we need to do, getting the right performance. So for the future, for me, it's just continuing that journey of producing higher quality audio and better songs.
All right. Thank you very much for the interview.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you so much for
It's been
having
a
us.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.